Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And I start my show off the same way with gratitude, or some people will say thankfulness. I am thankful to be here. It's a beautiful day in Trinidad. It's bright, sunny, nice, wispy clouds. And I'm happy to be above ground to appreciate the beauty in the world, in both the all creation possible. I'm happy to be here and to share another nugget today with you on my episode on Between the Lines. And I'm here today with Faust Ruggiero. Yes, he's actually in the United States, all cloaked up, feeling cold, while we're here warm in Trinidad and Tobago. Let me tell you a bit about him. So his professional career spans over 40 years. Faust has counseled clients ranging in age from 5 and into senior living. He has counseled people in inpatient facilities, prisons, substance abuse counseling centers, in nursing homes, provided employee assistance programs to major corporations. He continues to provide counseling services for veterans, first responders, law enforcement, and other emergency personnel. He has been in private practice at the Community Psychological Center in Bangor, Pennsylvania for over 30 years, specializing in individual, family, substance abuse, women's issues, and marital or couples counseling. During that time, he developed the process way of life and have used it with over 2,000 of his clients, helping them to realize and unleash the power they have inside themselves. It is presented in the Fix Yourself Handbook, which you will have a look at a little bit later in the show. So welcome, Faust, to Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, we're talking about fixing yourself. The journey is about to begin. Today is March 8th, 2020, or some people say 2020. Yeah, the journey is about to begin right after, or as a matter of fact, during this episode as we speak. Fix yourself. Now, first, why would, some people say if it's not broken, why fix it?
Corinne, that's what I've been hearing in self-help for a long time.
Yes.
And you don't have to be broken. I just think we're at a point where we want to get honest with ourselves and understand that there's some things about us that maybe aren't so good, maybe things we'd like to change. So, rather than ignoring them or telling ourselves that it's okay to move on without fixing them, I like to help people identify those and then see if we can't make life just a little happier.
Yeah, but you're assuming that we want to fix something. You have to acknowledge first that there's something that need to change, and first. People will tell you something is wrong with you. Yeah, they're quick to point the finger at everybody else and tell them what they need to fix and change, but they're not looking at themselves. How can we get people to look within themselves, start with them first? Because it really starts with you.
And when I put the program together, I really began to address things about me. So the chapters in the book really start from me first. Because I teach the program doesn't mean that I don't have concerns myself. So all the things that I write about are things that I saw in myself, in others as I was counseling them. And so I've lived through many of these things. I wouldn't want anyone to think that somehow I was above that. I'm not.
Give us an example of some of those things that you saw within yourself that you needed to change, because as you speak about it, persons listening or who will be listening will be able to identify with that and say, I never thought about that as something that I needed to fix within myself. I thought it was good and I'm okay with it, but clearly it's something that I can actually look at.
Your statement that said, I'm okay, I'm good with it. That's where we start. I tell people to kind of take your life off autopilot, that typical routine way of running your life. And then the second thing I tell them is we've got to get honest with ourselves. And honesty can be painful.
Yes.
We have to look at I'm sorry?
I'm saying yes.
It can be very painful. There are two kinds of honesty, really. What I call the brutal honesty, the really to go inside yourself and find what's really there, or that honesty we like to tell ourselves that so that we don't have to challenge ourselves because it hurts, and I understand that. it hurts to go down deep and find some things that maybe we don't like about ourselves. So I started there, and that's what I started with myself, to go inside and say, well, maybe this isn't exactly the way I want it to be. There's some things I knew I had to change. I had to get honest with those things that I didn't like. Maybe I wasn't as nice a person as I thought I should be. Maybe some of the things I was doing were a little more flawed than I liked them to be. So I had to go and get those first. And really, as a practitioner, I can't help anyone else until I help me.
Yeah, and the thing about it is acknowledgement. And a lot of the times people are saying, but it worked for me before. If a particular quality, trait, or personality, it's working for them. But you are looking at those individuals and say, my God, this person is abusive. This person is a manipulator. They're not realizing what they're doing, but for them, it works because they are getting what they want. They are getting what they want from people. They have no need to fix it. I mean, in particular, like narcissists, I'm sure you would have come over people who are narcissistic personality disorder. I don't know if you've come across those types.
Many.
And yeah, and and I believe the world is becoming more and more narcissistic than anything else. I am meeting more and more of them every day. First, this is crazy. They're being created. The society is creating them because I don't believe that they were born that way. I don't think anybody is born that way, but they were created through the sort of programming and nature, nurture type of thing. And those individuals or people with that sort of mindset do not think there's anything they need to change. It's you that need to change.
And you are correct. And that narcissism you're talking about, when I work with people, I call it entitlement, that you believe that you should have whatever you want. And when you're trying to be honest with yourself, that's not going to happen then, because you're so focused on bending the truth to accommodate that goal, usually some type of quick fix that makes you feel good right away. And the program I'm teaching is a life program, and it evolves a little by little. So you're not going to get that quick fix. So the entitlement has to be put on hold. And that's a tough one. I think you're right. The world is moving more to quick fixes and entitlement, and it's about me as opposed to loving everybody and being there for them.
That's right. So I don't know about it even being a quick fix for them, because that is just a fix. It is just a fix, because a quick fix is for the quote unquote normal human being, not to call them abnormal, but they are abnormal. Let's be real. They're just not, I don't know, they're just not normal. That's the only word I could come up with. They are totally, they just operate on a frequency that is just about manipulation and abuse. And for them, that is normal. This is their regular programming. So when you are somebody who is not of that personality disorder, meet up with somebody like that, you're like, huh, what? How is that possible? Can't you see what you're doing? They don't. It is normal for them.
It is normal for them. And once a person normalizes something, then they stop thinking about consequences, and they stop thinking about the way they're thinking and behaving. Mm-hmm. And then it being so normal, they don't want to change. And the thing is, if you go with quick fixes, they're relatively easy to put in your life. There's not a lot of work involved with that. Mm-hmm. So you keep getting reinforcement for doing all these abnormal behaviors, and because you're getting what you want.
But the thing about it, Force, is that there's always some fallout of these things. They are aware that they're hurting people, and they're aware of the impact. So it's not that they don't see or they don't know. They're not stupid beings. They know, but they don't care. And it's like, okay, so that happened with you. I will just find somebody else, another victim, another host, another whatever. I will just keep doing, because there are so many of you weak people out there that I can just manipulate to get what I want. So your program of the process way of life and fixing yourself may not really work for those individuals. I think your target audience is, I don't know, is it including narcissists? Because I don't know if there's a cure for people like that. honestly.
Well, here's what happens. The narcissistic people eventually collapse. That system can only work so long because it is such a brutal, such an abusive way to live life.
Mhm.
Sooner or later, the bottom falls out. That's when I get a lot of those people. Other people, and the other people, of course, are the victims who
Mhm.
have been hurt by people, and now they feel broken. They feel victimized, and they're looking for a way to become stronger. So I get both sides of it. Uh,
Wow. I
and
like how you say, I like how you say the bottom falls out. Give us an example of that. When you get them and does a bottom ever fall out? Do they
It
have a
does.
bottom? Do they have a bottom?
Yeah,
Really?
their bottom is when they have to do it for themselves, because while you're manipulating and you're hurting people and taking whatever you want, you don't acquire the skills that are necessary to become a good person and to become a productive person. So sooner or later, all those people, they leave you, and you're alone, and you're looking at yourself, and you're angry. And then the first thing they do is blame the other people, because they are narcissists.
Yeah.
They will blame other people, but when there's no one left to blame, now they're alone. And when they come to see me, the first thing they want to do is tell me about all these other people that have hurt them. So I go right into my brutal honesty there. I said, that's impossible. That many people could not have hurt you. Obviously, you weren't a very nice person. So we start tearing off the levels of honesty.
And removing that mask. And how do they react to something like that?
Well, you know what? That's when they become afraid, because they give me their first. I always talk about brutal honesty as like peeling an onion. You know,
Mm.
that first level, we think we're honest. We've taken something off the top, but
Mhm.
it's not usable. We throw it away. Then
Mhm.
we get into the usable part of the onion, and the tears begin to come.
Oh.
And now we're starting to face those things about ourselves.
Hmm.
So now at those points, and you know, I'm a very straightforward person. I don't coddle people.
Mhm.
I'll be very sympathetic, and I will nurture them, but I will not coddle them, and I'll tell them exactly what I see.
Mhm.
That's when I start to make some headway with these people. But those people are much slower, much more difficult to work with.
Oh, yes, we know this. We know this was because they are determined they are not to change, and it's everybody else too. Wow. They are an interesting bunch. They are an
They
interesting
are.
bunch. They are an interesting bunch. You know, and it's, you know, what saddens me, and I'm focusing on that because, as I said, you know, the society, I'm seeing more and more of them being created, and it saddens me to see that type of personality disorder coming about in a society that we are supposed to be looking more towards love than towards abuse. We don't need it. It is not healthy. And you know, I grew up at a time where when I look at it, comparing then to now, we have been programmed to believe that that sort of behavior is acceptable, which is why it has consumed and subsumed and taken over our society. We think that that was normal when it isn't.
Well, you know, what I'm seeing is, and I just did a lecture on this, that I'm not sure we're as evolved as we think we are. We tend to like the primal things, the things that make us feel good real fast. And that narcissistic way of living fits right into that.
Mm,
Uh, it satisfies on so many primal levels. And what I do, and this is a secret, I tell all the people who are being victimized by these individuals, I say, slow them down. Anyone that's going to manipulate you, anyone that's going to try to do all this stuff to you, they go fast, and they want you to go fast, and that's how they get past your boundaries, and that's how they use you. Slow the process down, try to take your emotions out of it, and think about what they're doing, and
mhm.
you'll see it. You'll define it very quickly.
Yes, yes.
There's no
Well,
connection at all.
yes, yes. Well, we know that. I've come across many. I've come across many, and I'm sure a lot of others are going to be coming. But I do identify them faster and faster. The more I am able to apply those strategies, like you're saying, and the more you know, it's a spiritual journey too. You have to know yourself and have a solid sense of confidence about you, because they're really targeting your self-worth and self-esteem. That's really
Yes.
where they're coming at you. Yeah.
Yes, they are. And
Mhm.
that's what the process way of life teaches. There's a balance. You know, all of us are physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And
Yes.
we really try to get a balance between those attributes and have them always working for us. And when people are abusing and manipulating, they throw us off balance. And that's how they get what they want. And I teach people how to be, not to react emotionally and to be more intellectual. Use your thinking. Think about what these people are doing.
But I would tell you from experience in dealing with them, that it's not, you can't, to me, you cannot intellectualize or be logical about it. It is really going through your spirit, your
It does.
intuition, your gut. It tells you, it screams at you. Your inner being, your inner child screams at you, and it knows something is wrong. It cannot tell you exactly what it is, but you know something is off. And all we need to do is just take a back seat. As you say, slow it down. You start to feel overwhelmed. You start to feel that. So when we're talking about fixing yourself, it is really about spending time, knowing who you are first.
That's
Spending
right.
the time knowing who you are in order to be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, so that when these beings or anybody who is abusive or manipulative, toxic, let's call it toxic, come into your space. I'm not even saying your life, your space, because we are energy beings. Once they're coming to your space, you pick up something is not right, and you know what you could do in order to set your boundaries and watch what that person. So fixing yourself is really, as I said, the journey begins here, right now, listening to this show, because there are people, women and men, in toxic relationships, in not only personal, at work, with their neighbors, with whatever. They're involved in toxic relationships, and they think it's okay, or they think they need to go do extra in order to please the person, because it's always about pleasing them. You know, fix yourself. What are your
You are
thoughts on
hitting
that?
all the topics I talk about. I talk about people pleasing, and you've got to stop that. I
Yeah.
talk about setting boundaries, but it's easy to set a boundary. The difficult part is to defend it, because
Oh
the
my.
boundary thieves are going to come and get it every chance they can. So you're right. The program I have is just that. Learn how to fix yourself. Learn how to be a confident, powerful person yourself, so these people cannot tear you down.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to stand up. You have to be that confident. I mean, and be able to walk away. Walk away and let it go. And I'm saying that sternly, and that includes a job as well. Do not sacrifice your mental health staying in an environment just because you're getting a paycheck. It is not worth it. First, I need you to back me up on that, please.
Corinne, 100%. I've taken people out of those relationships. I have, particularly women that will come in and they're saying, well, I don't make enough money and to go on my own. I say, we'll get to all of that. The first thing you have to do is make a decision that says losing yourself for the conveniences and the toxic stuff you're getting, it's just not worth it.
It's not
You're
worth
losing,
it.
you're getting a few things. You maybe get the car, you get the house, but in the end, you don't have you. And if you don't have you, it doesn't matter anyway.
No, you go home, you're quarreling, you're sick, you're getting that monkey chatter, the looping in your head, you're quarreling with the kids, you can't sleep at night, your blood pressure is high, you're spending time in the, oh my word, is it worth it?
No, none of it's worth it. I go back to my earliest days when I just came out of college. I didn't have much money. You got a little small apartment. I just had a few things, and I was happy as can be. And I watch people on what I call the acquisition merry-go-round, where they've got to acquire all these things over and over. And in the end, the acquisition causes them to lose themselves. Then they continue to lose themselves as they try to maintain that environment, which is killing them.
People
Doesn't
are
make any
so,
sense.
no. So I don't care what it is. I would even say, even if you're married to the person with children, leave it, walk away. If you can take your kids with you, go. Even if you can't, go without the kids. I am so serious. Preserve your mental health, because how can you serve your kids if you are not strong enough to help them? Tell me something first. I need to understand, because there are women who stay, there are people who stay in these relationships for the sake of the kids, for the sake of the marriage, and their relatives and the priest or the pastor or the church is telling them, no, you're committed to that, you need to stay it out and whatever, and they're suffering first. They're suffering, both men and women. Today's International Women's Day, for Christ's sake. Tell them something first. I don't care, it might sound horrible, but you have to protect yourself and preserve yourself in order to probably later on give yourself some years to heal, to get stronger and come back at your children, ask them for forgiveness, because you know the narcissist or the toxic person is going to put things in the children's head against you. Prepare yourself for that and be ready to stand up and face whatever it is that come, but at least you know within yourself, your mind, that you did the right thing and your conscience is clear. First, say something. Say something is International Women's Day.
You hit it on the head. When I work with these people and they'll come in, they'll say, I want to stay in the environment and I want to be healthy. I tell them that's not going to happen. Your first step is to get away from what's tearing at you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are.
No.
It doesn't matter. I know I'm a strong person, but if I put myself in that environment, little by little, it will tear me down.
That's right.
And in order for me to become strong and to become spiritual and to become a person who is confident in my own powers, I have to take that's one of the first parts of the formula. Take yourself out of situations that are going to cause your energy to be directed to a negative place. We're talking about positive energy. That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
And you cannot have positive energy if you are in an abusive, manipulative, toxic environment every day. You'll spend all your energy trying to survive that. That's all you'll be doing. And that's what you'll be doing. Not living, you'll be surviving.
That's right. Trying to survive, survival of the fittest. And like I said, when you leave there and you're in the silence of your home, it follows you. It follows you. My goodness. I mean, this is an important message we're sharing about fixing yourself. You know, the journey begins here and now. I mean, I want persons to hear this episode and be able to look within themselves honestly. We're talking about brutal honestly. We're not coddling anybody here, like Foss says. We're not coddling. This is not the cuddle show. Okay? This is about being this is about loving you. Loving
right.
you. You must love you first. The time you're taking to put love into somebody else, to give them, to please them, to make sure they're okay at the sacrifice of yourself. What is left for you? You're pouring from your well and not pouring into yourself. Take that same amount of time and energy that you're pouring into somebody else and pour it into you. You cannot give from an empty well.
I will tell you why the abusers work so well, because the toxic relationship is so strong that even when you're not in it, you're now abusing yourself. You're the one that's telling yourself, and that's why it works so well. They can just get you to the point that you believe what they say and you believe who you are. They don't even have to be around you, and you continue to abuse yourself. And when I take people out of these environments, it takes me a good year or so to get them back to normal thinking, because the abuser doesn't even have to be there anymore. They've been broken to the point that that's what they believe about themselves. Yes. And then they will actually search out other relationships that start at the same place with the abuse, because that's what they believe they deserve. So the first step is get out of that situation. Yeah. You're good to no one, including yourselves, while you're in it. And then we start the rebuilding process.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. They don't have to be there, and they know it. They don't have to be there to continue to abuse you. You continue to abuse yourself, and you attract those type of relationships over and over and over. This is why it is a lifelong journey.
That's
so
right.
When we talk about the journey starts here, it starts, but there is no end. We didn't say the journey start and end, at the end of 2020 or 2021. It continues till you die.
That's correct. I'm so glad you said that, because we continue to change, we continue to grow, and if we get to a destination point, then you're right, the journey dies. And that's what happens with many people. They think they
Yeah.
have to get to a certain point. There is no certain point. You keep on growing, you keep on changing, and that happens until your last breath.
My word, my word. I am showing here your website, but you're looking so cool on the couch. Look at you. You're looking so cool on the couch.
It's all that public relation stuff. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The message is very clear. This is so good. I mean, we're talking about something that, what we're talking about, people don't want to talk about first. It's a sensitive topic and they don't want to talk about it. It's not only sensitive to say they are being abused, or they probably don't even know they are being abused because they think it's normal. It is so subtle and insidious the way how the abuse comes in. You don't, but you sense it, your spirit sense it. And it continues for years and years and years.
And you said the right thing. You don't even know that it's happening. It goes slow. And then in the beginning, you're making excuses for the other person, which is horrible. To make excuses for someone who's hurting you is a terrible thing to do. If they hurt you, they hurt you. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And that's where your decision has to come from. That decision that says, okay, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot hurt me. I don't care what I have to do in order to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can come out and be whole and have my spirit on the other side, but I can't have that with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to be strong within yourself. You have to know that it's within you. And as I say that, they can only do that to somebody who they feel they could manipulate. And it's because they know you are stronger than they are, which is why they're trying to pull you down to their level.
Good for you. That's exactly what they're doing. They're insecure and they're going to take you down and even the playing field. That's their goal.
Yeah. So they are weak. They're actually weak and you're the strong one, but you don't recognize that you're strong. And they are recognizing, oh, she doesn't even recognize her strength. I am going to bring her down to my level or lower than my level.
Exactly.
So know within yourself that you are strong and you carry a strength that they want. And it's because you're stronger, you can come out of it and do better than they are. Yeah. And become stronger as a result. We could talk about this for hours and hours on end, Force. I'm telling you.
I tell them, think about this. If you've been strong enough to survive what these horrible people are doing to you, imagine what happens if you take yourself out of that situation and apply all that energy to positive.
Yeah.
Who could stop you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I tell them. Who could stop you? If you're strong enough to do that, the rest of it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to switch over here to your book. Are you seeing that by chance?
I am.
Yes, the Fix Yourself Handbook is available on Amazon and it's available on Barnes & Noble. But of course, I just selected Amazon because it's the most popular.
Right.
So persons can get it here. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's both in Kindle and paperback.
Yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to your podcast as well. You have a podcast going on, just like we're on one right now.
Right.
So persons can listen to your podcast. Yes, the Fix Yourself Handbook. Yes.
Yes, they can.
Yes, and you're an anchor just like me. So the process way, so they can listen. Of course, if they want to get on your show, or if you need to be interviewed by anyone, they can check out your podcast here as well.
They can.
Yes. Wonderful. And if persons need to contact you, they can contact you here via your email. Sure.
Yes.
Beautiful. And I see you have a chapter outline. Let's have a look. So if persons want to, yes, this is really good. If persons want to get an idea of what the various chapters involve, they can see a synopsis of each of the 12 chapters, I think?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
I wanted people to, I think it's important to be honest with people about what's in the book.
Yes.
If they're going to spend their money and their time on this program, then they should have a reasonable idea of what's going to be in the book before they purchase it.
Oh, wow. Wow. I still keep scrolling. How many chapters are in this book?
36.
36 chapters.
It's a program for life. It's a journey. And so you start from the beginning and you take it little by little and you move to the higher levels.
Do you offer coaching if somebody buys the book and they want to be coached personally by you? Do you offer that?
Yes.
How can they do that?
They just need to contact me. They just need
Okay.
to and tell me what they're interested in, and then we'll work it from there.
Okay, okay. So we can go through the same booking here and email you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they can
Yes.
say, I heard you on Between the Lines. So they can say that as well. And if persons need to book you for speaking engagements or even podcasts and events, you have a specific page for
I
that.
do. Yes.
Beautiful. Any final words, Faust? Any final words for the listening audience?
Yes, I do. For the people who may be listening who are afraid to move forward, just take it slow. And if you need help, reach out. If you haven't moved in a good positive direction yet, it may be because you're afraid or you don't know what to do. Family members, friends, a professional counselor, whatever it takes, you have to know you're worth it. That's such an important statement. You are always worth the help, and people do love you, and they will put their arms around you and they will help you through this.
Yeah. There's nothing more I can say than just know that you are worthy.
That's
You
right.
deserve the best of the best, and don't make anybody else make you think otherwise. You deserve the best. Don't compromise. Don't lower your standards for anyone. You deserve the best. Fix yourself first, and then you could fix everybody else. Stop trying to please everybody else. Pour into you and stop pouring into everybody else. First, you definitely have to come back on my show again. This is a we need to keep in touch. This is definitely a
I
topic
would
I'm
love to
passionate.
do that. I would
Yes,
love to. I've done many podcasts and interviews, and yours, I think you think very much like I do. I'm right to the point.
yes.
Still love the people, but right to the point. And I think from what we've talked about today, it was just a very nice, open discussion. And I think we may have helped a few people.
I think we have. I think we have. And I know we have. Thank you so much, Boss Ruggiero, for being on Between the Lines.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.